I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. It's never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen.
Welcome back to the channel. This is Not Without My TV. I am Chris, and we're going to be watching the world go crazy. Let's just go ahead and get started.
In 1983, making $30,000 a year is
equivalent of $164,000 a year in 2023 and 2024. Yes, that's right. In addition, the middle class isn't dying. The middle class is dead. In the 1950s, the average household income was around $3,000. The average house cost around $5,000. It wasn't too hard. Yet, about 2.5 times your annual salary, and you could afford a car and a house. Nowadays, people are making an average of $74,000 in household income, and the average house is around $450,000.
So that's the important part, is the ratios.
The bare minimum of middle class in America right now in 2024 would be about $174,000 a year. And that's not doing well. That's just meeting the bare minimum.
I like how he actually looked at it properly with the ratios, rather than just saying, look at our grandparents bought this house with raspberries.
That was a lot of numbers thrown out there to say basically that inflation's kind of killing the masses here. But I don't think all of that is all necessarily coincidental, or it seems to be by design, is I guess what I'm saying. But what can you do, man?
The state of California has issued an executive order for the removal of all homeless encampments. The order from Governor Gavin Newsom would direct state agencies on how to remove thousands of tents and makeshift shelters across the state. This makes it clear that any decision to remove encampments remains in the hand of local authorities, and it follows a recent Supreme Court ruling that allowed for that to happen. While Newsom cannot order local authorities to act on his order, his administration says that they can apply pressure by withholding money from counties and cities.
So I've talked about this before, and I think I'm going to keep on talking about this. This whole cleaning up the homeless. They're criminalizing the homeless. They're throwing away all of their stuff and fining them. And I believe they might be even jailing them if, they set up another campsite immediately in an area that's being cleaned up. I'm not sure what the consequences are in every city. They seem to be different. But there are now consequences for being homeless here in California. It's a vote blue no matter whose state, and it's been that way for quite some time, and it seems to be taking a really far right approach to a couple of things, not just this homeless thing. But anyway,
so the Pilgrim bylaw says what? Everything is owned in common. Everything gained by hunting and cooking and fishing and trading goes into ye common stock. Everybody's livelihood comes out of ye common stock, and they nearly starve to death. And William Bradford says this was tried by well-meaning people, but it shows the emptiness of the theory of Plato, applauded recently by scholars, that the taking away of property and owning it in communal would make everyone happy, as if they were wiser than God. And so he said that the young men objected to doing twice as much work as an older man, but not getting any more. He says that the older men objected to being classified in labor with the young men, considered it a type of disrespect. And he says the women objected to having to wash other men's clothes. And so he said, after much discussion, we came up with a plan that every family would be allotted their own plot of land. And he says this made all hands more industrious, so that much more corn was planted than otherwise could have done. So Plato or Thomas More or Francis Bacon, that was all theoretical. The Pilgrims actually tried to live this thing, and it failed.
So I've heard this story before from a couple of different people. I guess the one I've heard the most is there was a radio talk show host named Rush Limbaugh. He used to tell this story every Thanksgiving, at least once. For I don't know. I listened to him back in the 90s, so it's a different take on the Pilgrims and how they're first settlement started and turned out to be. I think maybe I might put together a little something for this Thanksgiving to try and illustrate that story or tell it in my own voice.
How about when we leave here, we still have to pay tax?
What do you mean?
That's what I mean. We still have to file here. We still have to pay tax here.
You're talking about this is coming up because you're moving to England, so you had to look into.
No, that's the law.
California is taxing you after you leave the state?
Mhm. Not just me, everybody that does.
Welcome to California. What is it? You can check out, but you can never leave. Something like that. Anyway. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's for people who don't pay taxes or if it's for people who live under a certain income level. But yeah, I've definitely heard that from others as well, that California's taxing you after you're gone still.
My favorite scene from the entire movie is this next clip that we're about to show, and I gotta hear the story behind it, okay? And you'll know what I'm talking about.
Over there at that creek, man, I found a couple of shells on the arrowhead.
That's my favorite because nobody knows what he's saying.
That's how Dale talks, like all the time. And in that case, he didn't know the camera was running.
When you filmed that shot
He was
of
just
him,
sharing that he had found a couple Shoshone arrowheads in the creek bed not far from where we were filming. And Jared's like, oh. and so into the movie it went.
I remember that movie. The whole thing was funny. That scene was pretty funny too, but that was a good movie.
We can keep doing this over and over and over again with the boomers calling millennials and Gen Z's lazy. I don't understand why you're not on our side. The boomers have a lot of money, but a lot of you are broke. That's why they have senior citizen discounts. You don't have any money. You went to school from 5 years old to 18 years old and worked for 50 years and have no money. You should be on our side that we're screaming for the rooftops that financial education needs to be taught. We're actually excited as a generation that we're talking about financial literacy. We're all ready to invest in a Roth IRA and save for a house and pull out money and do a rental property. But after the pandemic, we picked our head up and Big Macs are $18, rent is $3,000, and the average house is $450,000. So you have people in their late 20s with bachelor's degrees looking at their $65,000 worth of debt and there's $16 left over at the end of their month going, do I put this $16 towards my debt? Do I put it towards saving for a house? Or do I order f***ing Chipotle? They're ordering Chipotle because they're living paycheck to paycheck. You should be rooting us on that we're finally talking and sharing these stories and trying to help millennials and Gen Zs and future generations have financial education, discipline, and budgeting. We're finally figuring this out, but now the whole world got fucked.
That guy was talking really fast. But yeah, I think, why are generations at odds with each other about finances? I feel like times are hard for everybody right now. Why? What's going on with all the finger pointing? We should probably get past whose fault it is and try and maybe work on a solution.
Another example of Bidenomics and another reason to not shop at Walmart.
And to prove I'm not full of shit, here we go. 4.78 pounds. 2.2 pounds. 4.78. 2.2. Let's look at the other one. 4.9. 2 pounds. Walmart is getting us. Screwing us. Right? They're screwing us.
So I think Walmart's been screwing us for a while. But I mean, where else can you get everything you need? Like you don't have to spend your whole weekend getting all these different things. You get it from there or Amazon now. Like between those two, you can get all your shopping done.
These people have a massive multi-trillion-dollar vested interest in keeping the plant-based movement going. Every single society going back past the Romans would keep the plebeians and the peasants on plant-based diets to keep them sick and suppressed and under control. The British did this. The common people were on the commons. They were growing wheat, they were growing grains, and that's what they were able to eat. They weren't allowed to hunt. That was the king's woods, or the king's deers, or the king's pheasants, and the king's rabbits and things like that. You could get killed for poaching. It was the nobility and the aristocracy that was allowed to eat meat. Everyone else wasn't. You know, in ancient Rome, when the plebs would get uppity and start to looking like they were going to revolt, they'd start handing out free bread and start putting on circuses. Bread and circuses. Just feed people junk food and distract them. But the other side of that coin that they don't tell you is they cut off the meat supply to Rome. They say cut off meat so people couldn't get meat, but they give out free bread. So like, oh, okay. And then they go watch the circus, right? And so it just kept them docile, kept them low energy, kept their brains numb.
I'm not sure about how true any of that is, or whether you can verify that or not, but it does seem kind of strange that there always seems to be these cycles of meat scarcity within empires. It's kind of weird, huh?
Yo, I guess I'm gonna need to be the one to explain to all of the 40-year-old people and above, so 40 plus. Yo, you guys keep sending out these thumbs up emojis, and they look more like this to the Gen Z and millennials. Yo, we depict the thumbs up as a it's rude.
You're young, so maybe nobody's told you this yet or not. Most of those 40 and above people that you're talking to, that you're probably talking about right now, are Gen Xers. We don't give a fuck. Sorry, but we don't. As a matter of fact, we used to try to hurt each other's feelings on purpose for fun in school. That's just what we do. That's how we passed the time. If that bothers you, you better strap in, because most Gen Xers are going to figure out what bothers the shit out of you and do it even more. You might want to pass that information on to the baby boomers. Most of them seem to be crybabies like you guys. But as for us Gen Xers, we don't give a
Again, with the pointing fingers at generations, maybe, well, this time it was a thumb, but still, I gotta say, I agree with that guy. Gen X does not care too much about your feelings at all. Maybe if you're close, someone close, but otherwise, he's right about the whole hurting each other's feelings for fun. Your mama jokes, I think, we're the ones that kind of made that mainstream.
I think I've had enough of these tinfoil hat maniacs on social media.
The comical part is, brother, tinfoil hats actually have the capacity to not only deflect 80% of the electromagnetic smog that pollutes the atmospheres of modern civilizations, but because of its unique relationship with your cerebral biofield, it actually keeps trillions of your neuroreceptors stimulated at all times, essentially making you 70% smarter at any given moment.
So what do you insist, John? We all just walk around with these?
Maybe if you put that tinfoil hat on, you'd make a half-decent car.
Like that little jab he threw in there at the end. I don't think that's really Elon Musk's voice. But that is a good channel. They have some pretty interesting short stories. Okay, I think that's going to be all for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out some of these other episodes if you like content like this. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button so you can get notified next time I make an episode. And I will see you then.
That was nice.